everyone. I am Dr. V. Thank you so much for showing back up or joining me if you are new. Full name, Dr. Vernita Glenn White, but I do go by Dr. V and I am known by Dr. V. We are chugging along in our Embracing Grit for Greatness series. This is the book series that I talk about, that I have been talking about, and we're doing our grit check-ins. I'm talking about big U and little u. I am a life strategist and empowerment coach. I am also the CEO and founder of the Vibe Institute, where we help high achieving professionals vibe higher in their influence, brilliance, and excellence so they can be their most empowered selves. And as a result of working with us, those individuals break their personal glass ceilings so they can show up to be their most powerful selves in life and in career. And in order to do that, we got to do some work. We got to check in with big U, and then we got to deal with little u. I wrote this book, Embracing Grit for Greatness, how to become professionally powerful through personal environment. I wrote this as we were in a global pandemic. It came out December 22nd, 2020. And then I'm taking people through, just give them a little bit of taste of what the book is about through this series. You can read my personal journey in this book and how I was living a double life as big me and then little me, and what I needed to do to make sure that I was big in all areas of my life to be my most empowered self. And I want to make sure that I share that with you, or go through this process with you. Some of you may have the book, and that's great. And you can read along with me and read through the pages. And, I'm adding my own little commentary in there. If you already have the book, you may be wondering, like, why would I want to watch these videos? Because look, it's with the author. I wrote it. You get to hear me speak the words and the meaning behind some of the words, right? And then there are some people who may not ever get the book, or for whatever reason, and I still want to make sure that you get the highest possible value, because this isn't all about you just getting my book for me to get more money. I heard someone say that I don't write books just to sell books, and I didn't understand what that person meant, but it's true. Like, people have asked me how I did something or how I accomplished certain things in life, and it was like, I wrote a book, and it serves as a tool. Yes, it costs money. Yes, it contributes some way, but you don't really make a whole lot just from a book, especially if, you didn't get one of those New York Times bestselling deals and all of that. But anyway, I said all that to say is this is just another resource and a tool just to provide you value, right? So let's jump into it. We've already covered, if you don't know, this book is written in 5 different major characteristics or categories, talking about courage, conscientiousness, endurance, resilience, and excellence over perfection versus perfection. And then within those characteristics of what we're talking about today, I talk about big U and little u, because I share my process of big me and little me. And we talked about endurance, big U, and now we're on endurance, little u. I start off with the quote because each one of my sections has a quote attached to it. And then I actually read through the process with you. The process isn't, each little section is not long. They're very short. And I'm not reading to insult your intelligence. It's just to keep me on target and to help you and just to provide some extra, All right. So the quote for endurance for little u says, if you can learn to endure pain, you can survive anything. Some people learn to embrace it, to love it. Some endure it through drowning it in sorrow or by making themselves forget. Others turn it into anger. So endurance, like, what level of endurance do you have, right? We talked about endurance, big U, and how that's great, but let's talk about what endurance means in our personal lives. And I'm reading along with you on page 75. You can read along with me, that's what I should say, if you have the book. I researched antonyms for endurance, and I found several interesting words: laziness, stoppage, inability, indifference, timidity, or being timid, end, finish, discontinuance, compliance, incompetence, cowardice, weakness, and fear. When I was looking at those words, I was like, what? So those are antonyms for endurance. I wonder how many of us experience these feelings or traits when we sit down on ourselves in our personal lives. So sitting down on yourself, meaning that you know this goal that you want to accomplish, or you know there's something that you want to do. You get ready to get up, you start it, you're going in probably a few days or a few weeks strong. Something happens, then you stop. You literally sit down on yourself. I talk about how I sat down on myself physically and literally, or no, mentally and literally, physically too, where I would just be on my grandmother's couch sitting there, gave up on some areas of my life and just sat down on myself. If you've given switch pages, if you've given up on an area of your life, I'm sure you wouldn't consider yourself lazy, timid, or a coward. So remember, I told you those were antonyms for endurance. And when I read those, they stung a little bit because it was like, I don't see myself as lazy, timid, or a coward. But if I wasn't pushing through, then was I lazy, timid, or a coward? Nonetheless, if there are areas in your life that's like the drunk drawer in the kitchen, the overstuffed file cabinet in the office, or those plastic tubs sitting in your garage, overlooked and unorganized, then I must tell you that these words apply. Now, if you don't know, like I wrote the book, yes, but this is my first time going back through it and reading it with you. So if I'm shocked or I'm smiling, it's like, oh, I wrote that. It's like I'm reading this for the first time with you right now. But yeah, we all know those spots, and those are tough words to hear. I know when my personal development coach would say, like she didn't call me lazy or anything like that. She didn't use those words, but I think she did use lazy as one of them. And it's like at first you want to get upset, but it's like, well, if I don't see the results I want, then that could be part of it. So don't worry, they apply to me as well. See, I told you. When you avoid facing the reality of your crumbling life or follow through with plans to move forward, you are being fearful, timid, and weak. The interesting part is that you would quickly refute any of these traits if someone applied them to your professional work. Real talk. And I put, how dare they? If we're at work or we're in our business, we're doing our things professionally, and then someone had the nerve to call us timid, weak, or coward, or lazy, or whatever, we flip the script. We either do that by, going overboard in our work, or we just flat out tell them off and then show them up. We do that professionally. Big U does that, but little U keeps that junk drawer in the kitchen, or those tubs in the garage. And I'm not talking about the tubs like if you use them for storage, but there are some things that need to be cleaned out and you haven't done it. I had to go handle all of that before I came on here so I can be in integrity. So I told you it's a journey. It's a journey. So yet you aren't so quick to defend your personal life from these labels. It's easier to sweep those issues under the rug or stick them back in the junk drawer rather than persevering to resolve them. Yeah. There's a phrase by philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, which says, and if you want to know how to spell his name, it's FREDERICNIETZCHE. And he says that which does not kill us makes us stronger. We've heard that before, but did you know that that person said it? But does it really? But does it really make us stronger? The answer can only be determined after you've endured the process to get to the other side of your mountain. Most people don't get to the other side because they lack the endurance to push through their pain points during the process. Again, sitting down on themselves. Maybe it was easier to give up on your health because you weren't determined to stick to your plan of working out 4 times a week. Perhaps it was easier to remain in consumer debt instead of addressing the underlying issues that cause those spending habits. Or maybe it was easier to avoid relationships because being vulnerable with another person will force you to self-reflect on your own issues. Ooh, ouch to me too. It's easier to lack endurance in your personal long-term goals because you're the only one in the race. Oh my gosh, it is so true. It's like I used to run races like 5Ks, 10Ks. I think my longest was a 15K. And I was like, you know what, the Golden Girls are not going to beat me, or that one person is not going to beat me. I would pick one person, and it was like, okay, as long as I'm ahead of that person, I'm good. But in our personal lives, we're on the track by ourselves, and we don't have anyone to measure or to compete against but ourselves. The finish lines are internal, and you get to determine your level of follow through. Think of a situation in your personal life where you've lacked endurance and gave up. So go ahead, think right now. It could be health, financial, some of the things I've stated, or you know that thing, you know that area. If you could manage the number of times you give up in uncomfortable or difficult situations in your personal life, how would you show up differently? If you had 5% more endurance, just 5% more endurance, what would you do? Honestly, what would you do? If you're bold enough, you can write that in the comments below. Or you can just write it on a piece of paper in your journal if you've been following along with us. But I want you to be honest with yourself. You've had this endurance to reach a certain level of success professionally or in business or in career, but there's something and here's the thing, there's something that's blocking you from getting to your next level professionally or in business because you haven't taken care of something personally. That was also me. I had to go fix some things. I had to endure. I had to turn around, look at my life. I had to fix my level of self-worth because I was feeling worthless at a certain point of time. And then I had to have the courage to go look at that. I had to be conscientious enough to look at all of the details of why I felt unworthy. And then I had to endure the process of self-healing. That was a lot. And it didn't take days. It didn't take months. It took a couple of years, right? And I'm not saying that it has to take you years. I'm just telling you now, if you, even just through this series, if you take the time to just look at an area where you've given up and just shine the light on it. You may not fix it right at this moment, but just know that because you looked at the endurance that you had professionally, and I'm gonna keep saying this, you can transfer those skills and show up that way personally. So honestly, if you just had 5% more endurance, if you can just take some of that endurance you had to reach those goals professionally and apply it to your personal life, how would you show up differently? What just just answer that. Just how would you show up differently? What outcome could you accomplish in your personal life? Maybe it's your health, your finances, your spiritual life, your relationships. Take a moment and do that. All right. Whew, I think that touched me. I'm a little deeper than I thought it was going to, but that's this real talk, you know. Just off the series for a minute, my heart goes out to all of the brilliant people that's in the world. We we have a lot on our shoulders. People see us, oh, excuse me, and think that we're amazing, and we are amazing, but we know that there's more. We've been in this shell of we're supposed to be this one way because that's how we've been trained. That's how people see us. That's what people expect of us. But we have so much to give. We have so much to offer the world, but we get stuck right here, and we don't grow. We don't become innovative. We let those dreams and desires that we have, like, yes, maybe we were supposed to be in this career, but that career doesn't define us. That career is a little bit of who we are. You know, when I became a college professor, I thought that was all of who I was, but I didn't embrace the fact that I would be an author. and not even author as it relates to being in the professoriate, because we have to write articles and things like that, but my own type of book outside of academia. This is not like an academic book. It's not a peer-reviewed journal. But I wouldn't have been able to see that. And this is book number 2, by the way, but I wouldn't have been able to see that had I not looked at little me and fixed those holes. Um, I'm a national speaker. I've been on several platforms, but yes, I was doing that professionally at these academic conferences, but who knew that I would be in front of thousands of people? Like, over in the short amount of a few months, I've been in front of like 20,000 people virtually talking about empowerment, right? I didn't see that. And I wouldn't have been able to see that if I didn't embrace all of who I was and dealt with little me. And that's a prime example of showing up to be my most empowered and powerful self. So I had to take that skill set of enduring professionally, and then working on me and enduring that process. So then another version of me could evolve, right? Whew. So I hope that was helpful. That wasn't in the book. That was a little bonus for you. All right. So thank you so much. I would love to hear from you. If you are interested in purchasing the book, you can go to embracinggritforgreatnessbook.com. It is also available on Amazon, but going through that link, you will see more about the book. You'll hear from people who've already purchased the book. And then if you save your order number, you can come back to that site and put in some information, and then get some bonuses that I talk about or offer as a purchase to this book. Just another way to connect with me, and then to get even more value along this journey. And I do understand that people aren't always starting at ground zero, so those resources are also there, or those bonuses are also there, to help you keep the momentum if you've already been on a personal growth journey. All right, so that's all I have for you. I am Dr. B. Thank you so much for listening and learning with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.